Hello, hello, hello. I'm early. Okay. Joe. Okay, Joe. No probleme. What I'd like you to do is just play, let's see, the first page, like so. That, right-handed, left-handed. Or with the eighth notes, with the bass drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that okay? Hello, Nicholas. Who's that? Vic Chio? Hello, how are you? Exactly. By you said Joe. I asked first of all. We're broadcasting this, and what I'm asking from, I asked a few times before. When you send me a video, whether it's a single paradiddle, the level system, stick control book and half strokes with the vamp, it really don't matter what you send me. Okay, as long as I could see you doing something, and that helps me help you become better. Okay, Nicholas, is this your first time here, sir? Okay, don't move your drums out of the boiler room there. Nicholas, if this is your first time here, welcome, hello. And I'm going to start, I might start next week one day, start doing a 1 o'clock lesson. So 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock, okay? All right, anyway, Nicholas, if this is your first time here, here's my email. You email me. Email me and I will send you, put you on my mailing list, send you the agenda for the week, send you some PDF files. But if you're going to frequent this platform, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need the Stick Control book by George Lawrence Stone. You're going to need definitely the Syncopation book, Joe Morello's Master Studies, and Gary Shafee's Pattern Series, Time Functions. So after the lesson, or it's email at Gmail, I'm sorry, I made a mistake there. It's gmail.com. Sorry, guys. Wait a minute. Hold on. These little keyboard things, man, they suck. Hold on. Nah, come on. That's the email. Okay, now, there's Joe and Nicholas and myself in here. So there's two people that are watching, but they're not in the chat. It would be so very nice to get into the chat and say, hello, Matt, how are you? Or Matt, go take some drum lessons, which I do all the time. And we might have a little bit of a guest here tonight from Right now he's in China. That's Alan Herman. And when him and I get together, it always becomes, instead of a get-together and a workout, it always does become a lesson for me. Alan is a brilliant man. Okay, so now, do you understand what I want, Joe? Yes, no? Tonight we're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to work again with the combinations. James, send me the email. I'm not going to send you an email. James, there's my email. You send me an email, mattpatella1001@gmail.com. Okay. You send me an email and I put you on my mail list. I'm not going to go to my mailbox and start sending emails out. You email me, I put you on my list, and then I do a whole bulk thing. You want the PDFs? You want the agenda for the week? No problem. You email me. Okay? Not a problem, James. James, you've been here before. Hey, Ed, how are you, man? It's either you're on the road with some big man or you're doing a lot of teaching or practicing. Okay, so now, you missed last night, Ed. What we did, you don't mind, guys, Joe and whoever else was here from last night, okay? Just to go over a little bit of what we did last night. What I'm trying to do is open up this hi-hat a little bit and free up one of the limbs. For example, if we took the first from the workbook, if we took, excuse me, the first pattern, that's ostinato symbol pattern number 1, which is simply this. That's all that is. So now, and then playing the bass drum on 1 and 3 or wherever you're going to play it. What I've done was I said, okay, let's forget that right hand over here. Let's use the left foot. Playing 8th notes. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, so on and so forth. So instead of using the right hand here, we're replacing it with the hi-hat. Got that, Ed? And supplementary exercises with the stick control book. What you should do first, though, before we go to the stick control book, you have the book. You have it's actually page 11, where I wrote it out for you, 1 through 22. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4. You follow me, Ed? 1, 2, 3, 4. You follow me? Okay, so now, instead of playing this, we're going to play this. So what you want to do, we're going to free the right hand up. We'll take a break with it. We're going to go to it in another lesson, but not tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that page 11. I'm going to add the backbeat. 1, and 2, and 3. The first one. Second one. Third. It's hard talking to remember what the hell you have with this shit. All right, forgive me, but you understand what I'm talking about. Okay? Thank you, James. I appreciate that. Okay, now, in addition to that, there was a supplementary exercise that I gave you to feel that pattern, to work this up. Obviously, you have the warm-up. You want to drop the 2 and 4 there. 1 E and the 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E. 1 E and a 2 E and a E and a 4 E and a. Then you have one. Then you want to do the stick control book. Interpreting the stick control book, instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we're going to consolidate the line into one measure. And we're going to think of it in sixteenths. 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a. And we're going to eliminate the left. So that's going to give me, we're going to play just the rights. We're going to reference off the line. And we're just going to play the rights. Okay? With the bass drum. 1 E and a 2 E and 3 and 4 and against the hi-hat. 2 E and a 3 E and 2 E and we go to line 2. Same reference. 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E 4 E and a 1. What's this? Slower. Okay, I'll do it slow. Well, that's where you should be. I mean, I just get a little excited. I know how these flow, and I spent hours and hours. And when I did approach it the first time, it definitely, most definitely was slow. So if I did what I just performed slowly, line 1 would be 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the again 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4. It's line 2 and the 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the. Is that okay for you there, James? It's not really easier. I mean, to do it slower is not easier. It takes a lot more focus. And yes, definitely, it's a starting point where it gives you an opportunity to make an adjustment with your voices. If your bass drum's too dominant, or the hi-hat, you're not making it, getting that chick in the backbeat on the snare drum. But slower, yes, is easier and to a point because that's your entry point. But you know, there's all kinds of players here. Guys been playing 20, 30 years. They're out gigging all the time, you know? So they know how to do this, and I just get excited, and I forget about the guys who just started 3 days ago or 3 years ago, or don't understand the concept. Yes, to do it slow. And I like, what I do is I share my experience of entering this for the first time as well. And yeah, you're right. I didn't blast it when I first learned it. I broke it down. 1 E, and then I took the bass drum and the hi-hat. Now, I requested, Ed, last night, if you guys can send me a video of something. You know, maybe this lesson, or maybe page 11, or that's the first ostinato cymbal pattern, the first 2 pages, right-handed, left-handed, and with the 8th notes on the hi-hat, if that's possible. This way, I keep telling everybody, it's not about being judgmental, who's better, because that's nonsense. Nobody's better than anyone else. What it does, I get to view you, and I see, you know, if you understand it the way I presented it, and I see where you're at, and it helps me help you. That would be great if you can do that, okay? Now, let's talk about your voices. I don't mean, you know, you're on a phone, a 4-way conversation, and I could tell Joe's voice, and I could tell Ed's voice, and I could tell Paul, okay, so on and so forth. I could tell your voices. I don't mean that kind of voice. I mean, you know, when I'm playing the drums, for example, let's talk about the drummers. There's Elvin Jones, Max Roach, Buddy Rich. I don't even want to mention his name, Neil Peart, but that's okay. We know if we're not viewing a video, who is actually playing the drums, because they've established their own voice. And that's what we need to talk about. Let's establish your own voice. You know, and that's one of the reasons too with the video. Thank you for your video today, Paul. Appreciate it. Anyway, and color. What is color? I don't mean going to Staples or Office Max or Walmart or, wherever, the dollar store and buying coloring book and crayons. I don't mean that kind of color. Color is going to establish your voice. Now, a friend of mine last night sent me a video. And the fellow that I forgot his name. Isn't that amazing? I just got so overwhelmed with this man's playing. Okay? I got so overwhelmed with this man's playing. He was like a freak of nature, man, this guy, a force of nature, whatever you want to call it. This guy was amazing. He used his hand and the mallets. He used brushes, his hand and his stick. It was just unbelievable. I'm only busting you, Paul. Nobody sent me a video, so don't feel bad. But if you can, please send me one. Even if you have to upload it to YouTube and send it. You could always delete it if you don't want anybody to watch it. But unbelievable. And it's the first guy actually who really turned me on to color and voices. I was always into, yeah, man, I'm the fastest drummer in the world. Yeah, this is my paradiddles. This is the level system. Badinga da bonga da boonga. Was Mr. Alan Herman. Alan Herman gave me a disc of him. It's entitled, all right, whenever you can, guys. It's not a problem. Out of the box. And I said, what does he mean by out of the box? And I learned a lot from listening to that. And it's about sounds, man. There's no time. But there's no pronounced time, so to speak, okay? And as a matter of fact, there was one time him and I went to the recording studio and he was recording an additional disc, and sometimes it comes out well, sometimes it don't. You got to do it 100 times, or you're not happy with it, or whatever. But out of the box, and color, and he would use chains on the ride cymbal. He'd use let me use the mallets. Like, for example, combinations. This is what really turned me on last night with this guy. His phrasing, his that's not what he did. He was just unbelievable. He played one part with his hand. Don't ask me to ever play it again, because I won't. I won't know what I did. I just had a conversation. I developed a pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see what I mean by out of the box? There was no established like boom, bop, boom. That's commercialized playing. You guys understand that concept? Alan Herman's brilliant with that kind of stuff, man. He is out there. He's come to the studio with his drums. He uses Caviatos. And dude, those drums sound great, man. Okay? But anyway, that's just, I'm going to send, if you're on Facebook, Or you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm going to edit, I'm going to copy and paste it in the mail. And I'm going to send whoever's here tonight that video. It is absolutely a must to see. This guy is a force of nature. I have never, ever heard anybody play as well as he did or be as creative as he has. Okay? Now, does anybody have any questions on what we did last night? I know, Ed, we're just trying to take things a little bit different now and distribute the voices or limbs. All right? We're going to free up that right hand. We're going to give that right hand part when we do ostinato number 1. Yeah, James, it's most definitely, he didn't create that, but, it's definitely played that. I tried that. It hurts my hands. I'm getting a little older. Let me see if I can do that. He used 3 drums. Who knows? Anyway, where did that go? Hold on. Are there any questions on what we've done last night? Everybody tries to mimic that. I can't. I admit it, but they don't. Okay, James, where are you from, James? Joe, Paul, Ed, do you understand what we just did before? And James, where are you from, sir? It's nice to have YouTube, and there's some really great videos on there and some good information. But there's a lot of bad information on there, and I have no problem saying that. Do we understand what we did last night? James, where are you from? Okay. Paul, you understand. And there was another gentleman here, Nicholas. I didn't see him. North of Boston. Hey, you got a lot of people from that area. You have Ed's in Quincy. Okay. Joe, you're from that area, correct? Yeah, we're going to get together. All you're going to do is ride together. You know what? You're going to make a video. Hey, Ed, are you able to, you have equipment to make a video, sir? I met Ed in person. I was, what's this? Okay. Okay, good. Ed, that's Big Buddha. He's from Quincy. Joe, where are you from, Joe, in that area? There's a couple other guys that frequent this site that are from there. Gloucester, Mass, Quincy, Mass, and Boston. All right. Now we got a carpool going. We're going to get that party going on. The live lessons and the art of drumming groups. When I reach 100,000, I'm going to have a couple people do clinics. I'm going to rent a hall, and we're going to do a 2-day drum intensive. What's it you think so, Ed? Hold on. Let me see. What did I do with my glasses? Oh, boy. Matt, what did you do? Oh, well, that's a nice complimentary. Okay. It's not, there's nothing but there's no such thing. Let's talk about that comment. James says he looked at a lot of people on the YouTube and he thinks I'm the best. Well, thank you. I didn't scare nobody off. See, some people want to face the truth, hear the truth, but they can't face the truth. It's hard work. It's not about how fast you can play or blast beats and all that shit. It's hard work and knowledge. Now, let me address that. All right? He said that he thought I was the best. Well, that's a very nice compliment, but let's talk about what is the best. You know, when you play music, there is no right or wrong. There are a couple rules you need to follow. You know, you're going to play, you're going to interact with other musicians, phrasing, sections, you know, repeats, dynamics, all that good stuff. There's rules that you want to maintain. But there is really no right or wrong. For you to express yourself emotionally to the music and have a conversation with the other musicians. However, what I find as far as technique is concerned, and a lot of teachers, well, technique's a hindrance. No, it's not a hindrance. Technique is for you to understand how to execute with a minimal amount of effort, to let the stick flow naturally inside of the rhythm. Okay, that's what, there's not a right or wrong with that either. If you don't want to go with the levels, you're not going to go faster, because what you're doing is you're fighting the laws of gravity. You don't want to do that. What you need to do is go with it. Go with the law of gravity. There is an easy way, a correct way. You know, if I throw the stick down, it's the laws of physics. It's actually for every action, there's an opposite reaction. Okay? What is this? Well, yeah, the sound, it's the sound that matters. You know, I mean, you know, if you're going to get an accent, and if you want to do a run of accents, for example, you're not going to play accents here. You know, you want to get a certain sound, that's your voice. There's no molar here, all that bullshit. It's the laws of physics. Simple. Come on, wires, go away. You know, we talk about the levels. You know, it's like if I'm playing straight one sound on my snare drum, and I want accents every other one, well, something happens there. All right, there's the laws of physics. There's a downstroke, which gives me a louder sound. An upstroke, which puts me in position to nail the accent, up and coming accent. I go 1. So something is always happening. I go with the flow. You know, this here nonsense, it's not molar. I don't know what the hell that shit is. I always learned this as who's this? I learned that as an arm stroke. Then all of a sudden it become a molar stroke. Or even there's these so-called ambassador bullshit guys that throw a stick down like this, release it and catch it. See that? That's total nonsense. Why do they do that? If they throw it, they just follow it back. By doing that, throwing it, releasing it, and then catching it, you're using an additional muscle, which is totally unnecessary, and that's going to create tension. Now, yes, when I teach, I do look like a robot. I admit that. And there's a reason for that. What I demonstrate and what I teach is what occurs when I'm playing. If I'm playing 16th notes back and forth, like so, and I want an accent on the first note of the grouping of 4, that's what's occurring. So I'm doing it slow. 1, E, and the. That's what's occurring. So if I'm playing, it's hard to teach somebody, this is how you play 16ths with accents. And take it home and do it. Doesn't make any sense. But this is nonsense. And I watch a lot of guys do that. Or there's even this hinge stick nonsense, you know. They grab the stick like this for kids and, no man, you know, you pick up the stick, you got to find it yourself. You got to get that pivot point yourself. Period. Hey, Ken, how are you? It's glad to see you made the lesson tonight. Are you going to do a video for me? And did you watch the last night's lesson on the YouTube? Well, fingers is a totally different technique there, James. You know, it's like, you know, very seldom I use fingers. I mean, a lot of guys are playing. I can't do that with my left hand because I have some sort of physical defect. But yeah, the fingers is just a kind of different thing. But you have to remember, you use your fingers, use your arms or your wrist or whatever. Everything comes from the wrist. Everything. You know, it's like a lever here. You have your shoulder, your elbow, your wrist, and your fingers. Now, everybody knows what levers are. They're wheels that intertwine and they rotate and they're inside of each other. Okay? And if one of them is out of sync, there's a problem. So when I'm playing, I keep them all in sync through this method, the level system. It's a natural way to play. Some people say, I don't use the level system. You look at them play and you watch them do the level system. They don't even know it. They call it something else. Okay, you watched that video, right, Ken? Is there any questions on that? What we did was we took the first ostinato from the workbook, okay, and we eliminated the right hand, and we played the hi-hat in its place. You know, no, catch and release. I mean, this is not the Border Patrol, no, or ISIS. I mean, whatever you call that shit. ICE. No, it's not throw and release and catch. That's nonsense. I throw the stick to hit. First off, here's how I come up with it. Here's what I was told. Now you have to understand. I mean, maybe, yeah, I know a lot of guys who studied with Joe. And, you know, sometimes Joe was in a really good mood most of the time. And sometimes, you know, he would say what he meant a little bit different for each student. But at the end of the day, on this plate, it was correct. What I do, first off, my hand, I'm actually playing drums with my hand, okay? My stick is an extension of my hand. So my hand is playing. And I'm using the stick to make impact. Now, when I throw the stick down, you have to remember my hand is going to be faster than the stick. So I have to be back here to receive that stick. If I'm not back there to receive the stick, here's what's going to happen. I hit the drum, sorry. See it? That's what's going to happen. So I'm throwing the stick down, it's hitting, and I'm following that stick back and stopping it in a certain position. It's not catch and release. Whoever teaches you that, whoever shows you that, time to let the video go or get another teacher. It's simple. That doesn't make any sense. It's not catch and release. It's not that. If it's a catch and release, then can you imagine doing it here? That's I don't know what you call that again. One-handed roll, push-pull. That's a different thing. What I'm doing is I'm actually going with the rebound. It's like dribbling a basketball. I wish Alan Herman was here. I really do. That man knows how to explain this very well, simply and understandably. Me, I don't spend a lot of time. It's like dribbling a basketball. I'm not throwing and releasing. I'm following the stick. I had somebody post a video like this. I don't know what the hell they did. It don't make no sense. Anyway, Ken, do you have any questions on that video you watched from last night? Yes, I did stop smoking. Well, it is bad habits. Thank you, Joe, but it's bad information. It's simple. I studied with a guy after I got out of the service. I was with the Army band, and this is before I went to see Joe Morello. And he was located in New York City, and he was relocating to New Jersey, where I was. And he was at the same music store teaching where I was teaching. And I said, all right, well, the guy's from New York City, so he's got to know how to play drums. And he worked at the Adler building, so that's cool. And he knows all these drummers. What I have to tell you about this, I'm not going to mention his name, but he was a sweetheart of a guy, okay? And he did put a lot of emphasis on reading. He did teach me to read well, okay? I learned a lot from him with that. But his technique was totally off the wall. Pinching the drumstick, squeezing the drumstick, developing right here a big ball. You know, that's totally ridiculous. You don't choke the stick, it's going to create a lot of problems for you physically. You're going to eventually it will eventually evolve into carpal tunnel syndrome, because when I do stroke, I'm relaxed. I don't put no tension on there. So the sound went outward. When I hold that stick for dear life, if somebody's going to rob this stick, all right, and I make impact tight, hear the difference in sound. It was slight, but now the shock of that drumstick went up my arm. And that's going to create carpal tunnel syndrome or tendonitis. And you don't grab the stick tight so you squeeze it. And he had me doing stick control. Look here, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. That's totally ridiculous. Or he'll do it at the Adler system. Back then, there was no such thing as a single 5. It was a 5-stroke roll. So he had me go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, squeeze. That accent, 6. It didn't make any sense. Okay? And I worked with him for about 20 lessons. He did teach me how to read well. We went through Portraits in Rhythm by Rick Cerrone, and the only thing that was missing, which is the whole book, is the dynamics. And I went to Morello and we straightened that out. But Morello, knew who I studied with, and he knew him personally. And one thing about Joe, he had a way about him that if the guy was full of shit, unlike me, I would say you're full of shit. But Joe would say it very nicely and diplomatic and be politically correct. Not me. I go for the jugular vein. If you're full of shit, I'm going to tell you. Simple. Joe was extremely beautiful like that. All right, well, Ken, if you have any questions on last night's lesson, when we do the lesson, this week I'm just going to do evenings, but next week I'm going to try to start 1 o'clock. Okay? And yeah, I do feel better because I stopped smoking. I have to admit, I went cold turkey for the last 10 days, but I did have 1 cigarette, and I didn't like it. So, no, diplomatic as it were. Look, Joe, You seem like a really nice person. I don't like to hurt anybody's feelings, but you know, I go for the jugular vein. That's how I was born, brought up, and raised in the neighborhoods that I was in. But yeah, I try to be more diplomatic now because I don't want somebody coming with a gun and shooting me. Anyway, yeah, tomorrow evening, hopefully you guys can get some shit going on with videos. Send them to me. If you have to upload them to YouTube, please do that. After this lesson, I'm going to go on to my email and I'm going to send you that video. It's a must watch. This guy is amazing. Talk about sound. Well, the truth. See, people want to hear the truth, but they can't accept the truth. It's the way I feel. You know, maybe somebody else. It's like, you know, the greatest drummer of all time. What the hell is that? What is the greatest drummer of all time? There's no such thing. Period. Everybody here is on the same journey. Okay, everybody's here on the same journey. Is to become better, to learn as much as they could, or to go forward, develop yourself, develop your own voices, and be a better drummer. There's nobody better on this site like Joe and myself and Ken and James and Ed and all those guys. You know, we're all in a different place, but yet we're on the same journey. That's like saying Buddy Rich was the greatest drummer of all time. Hell, man, I could respect the fact I love Buddy Rich. He was an animal. He played so well, but I don't compare him to anybody. How can you compare Buddy Rich with Elvin Jones? Two different drummers, two different kinds of feel, two different kinds of music. So who is better? Who's best? You know, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, you know, I'm a little bit more gentle, Joe. I don't really do that somewhere. Well, I don't know who your first drum teacher was there, Ken, but the response was, who was that? My first drum teacher said to me that when you're on stage, that the drummer you focus on. No. This opens up a whole new discussion. You know, it depends on what kind of music you're playing, number one. If you're playing the barroom scene and you're playing a top 40 like I used to do, it's not music anymore. It's just like a job. And, you know, yeah, you have to lay it down for the musicians, play the 2 and 4. You have to lay it down for the people, dance and so on and so forth, okay? But that's not what this is all about. You know, being, you know, what I do, number one, if I get a call to do a gig, piano, bass, and drums and horns or whatever, yeah, there's certain things I need to maintain. If I count 1, 2, 3, 4, believe me, that's where the song stays. Okay? However, I do not want to get a gig where I have to play time for the other musicians. If they're musicians, they don't need somebody to keep time for them while they play. They play the music in time. There's a difference. Okay, well, yeah. I told this story. I don't know if you were here. You guys, if I repeat the story about Joe Morello coming to see me every night of the week, would I bog that down? I'm going to say it anyway. I don't know if you remember the story, Ken, and it has to do with your response here. You got to be on stage and do your best. That's what you meant. All right, and I agree with that. Yeah, you're going to do your best. I absolutely agree with that. Just a little story. You know, Joe Morello lived in New Jersey, and I was playing a gig locally here in I think it was Plainfield, New Jersey, and Joe Morello would come and see me play every night. Every night. I was playing 7 nights a week. Now you talk about intimidation. Oh my God. So I figured, hey, I better be cool here. Am I holding the sticks right? Do I have the level system? I'm playing the music and worry about all that shit. And so after the first two sets, I said, you know what? The hell with this shit. The hell with you, Morello. I went up there, and nobody was in that place that I cared about. Well, that's the attitude I had. And I focused in on the music, and I played the music. And after that particular set, when I got off, Joe had a smile from ear to ear. And he goes, Patella, you finally learned your lesson. That's what I mean. So, you can't compare drummers. They're all great. They're all inspirational. Some, I don't agree with, but hey, that's what works for them. It don't work for me. And if I don't agree with somebody, I'm going to tell them. And I try to say it as nicely as possible. But anyway, gentlemen, it's been 46 minutes. Okay? And I will be back tonight. Yeah, you focus right on the music, and that's it. I mean, you go up on stage, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever tune you're playing, you're humming that tune. That's what he meant. The hell with everybody else. It depends on the gig. And that was the gig that I had was a gig of expression, musical expression, having a conversation with other musicians. But when you're playing night after night after night, the same tunes, so people could come in and watch you play a Santana tune like Evil Ways, Oye Como Va, or whatever, like a Delilah by Tom Jones, all that good shit. You're going to have to play to certain boundaries. You can't go over those boundaries where people say, your drummer sucks. Who cares? But that's what they mean. All right, listen. I will be back tomorrow rather, at 7 p.m., and I will try to do some lessons in the afternoon next week. It depends. I can't promise. But you will get notification. I'm going to send out the email within the next 5 minutes, so check your email. Ken, you're on my mailing list, right? James, are you on my mailing list? Joe, definitely. Who else? Come on, computer. What are you doing, computer? Stop! All right, let's see. All right, I'm going to try to send everybody that video. Definitely do yourself a favor and watch that video. You want to see somebody play their ass off or hear somebody play their ass off? Self-expression, out of the box, and with a whole lot of color. Good for you, Ken. I hope you need any help with that, just email me. Okay, James, send me your email if I don't have it. I need to close down now, and I will see everybody tomorrow night, 7 p.m., and we'll go on to another ostinato pattern, or whatever we get into, I don't know. Hopefully Alan Herman comes. I just love it when he comes. I really like it when he gives me a hard time, because I not only learn, everybody else learns. And believe me, Alan Herman can give you a hard time. He's just a brilliant man. Come on. Oh, God. I'm stuck. What happened here? Oh. Come on, Mike. Get off me. The mic is fighting with me. And I got to do this another way. Okay, guys. See you tomorrow night.